It's time for Bet On It, brought to you by Warhorse Sportsbook, the best place in Nebraska to place your sports bets. If you were smart,
well, I smell bet.
You would have wandered on over to one of the casinos, either in Lincoln or in Omaha, and put some hard-earned cash on Santa Clara last night. As I told DB in one of the breaks, when he gives me a true random, I know that one's breezing right on by, because those deep cuts, that was always my strategy when I was really, really into college basketball, especially, at least betting on college basketball. I would go to these deep cut conferences because the lines are never right. And so I'd go and find value there. So I know when you give me a deep cut, it means it met your criteria and the line's probably not right. Easy money.
Yeah, what was that? 20? They would have won by 20?
Yeah, they cruised. So,
and I had the other one right too. I let the line movement scare me.
You did. The Maryland one?
Yeah, because at midnight it was 9.
Yeah.
And I was like,
and they dropped to 7.5.
I was like,
or no, it went up to 10 and then dropped to 7.5. It was a weird line. The movement was weird.
Midnight it was 9. By the time I'm talking to you, it was 7.
Yeah, it was weird.
I'm like, oh, fudge. Everybody's gonna be on this.
It's okay.
And sometimes it's just like that. But it was safe as a kid, and they won outright.
Yes. And I don't mind though on ones like that where it's weird. By the way, go to warhorse.casino.com for more info. But on the ones that are a little weird like that in terms of the movement, I kind of look at it like a hand of poker, right? Instead of chasing a straight, there's sometimes I'm going to fold and I would have caught it, and I feel okay about it because I played the percentages correctly.
Always in poker, your best hands are the ones you get away from.
A lot, usually, right?
Over time, that is 1,000%.
I think it was like Phil Hellmuth or somebody said, like, hey, really good poker players would have won about half the hands they folded, right? But that's how you protect you protect your little nest egg, you protect the pot. That's how I feel about your Maryland bet last night.
Why would you quote that guy?
I think that's who said it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure lots of people have said it. We'll give it a.
No, I might have been the poker.
Let's do Doyle Brunson instead. That make you feel better?
No, my fave.
Yeah,
you're in my wheelhouse now.
Phil
I
Ivey?
watch all the. Yes. How'd you know?
He's a black guy. I literally named the only black poker player I could think of.
Wow. Wow.
Okay. I think I have a drop from him.
I'm black and I'm
That was your rationale?
Yeah.
I hate your guts.
Well, listen, if you were like, hey, Ravi, who's your favorite tight end in the league? Who are you picking?
Tony Macchiawi.
I'm not Hawaiian. No, you say Mark Andrews. Diabetic. Yep. Nailed it.
Oh.
Who am I rooting for in the Australian Open final? Zverev, diabetic.
Yeah. Although, the Open is a mess.
It is.
I don't want to steal and go tennis hour, but can I just talk about competitive stamina and over talent as I'm looking at the women's side of the ledger?
Oh, you're talking about Coco?
Just in general.
Okay.
Golf, whether it's Osaka, like just mental fortitude.
Yep.
Is like it's
100%. Coco Gauff should never lose. She should never lose. She's the best player on the tour by far. She should never lose. And we saw, what was it, during the U.S. Open, where she lost her backhand and collapsed.
So, were we texting during that?
No, we were watching it here.
Oh yeah,
it was on during the show, and we're just like in real time watching.
How are you just gonna let this meltdown happen?
Watching her game disintegrate in front of her, and she's like imploring to her coach in the box, and I'm like, oh my God, she's gonna, and she got swept right out of there. It was brutal. It was hard to watch, but there is something to. And, those are just the examples. It happens on the men's side, too. Coco Gauff's just the best player it happens to on either side.
Would you walk in and say yesterday, day before, I don't need to see Joker doing that to my guy.
Yeah.
How he's still.
Dude, 37.
So dominant.
Although he had to retire because of an injury, which I was bummed out about. Although I will say, I kind of like the tennis players standing up for themselves in the Australian. Because Joker did it with the media, and then Ben Shelton did it.
You don't have to worry about Joker.
No, he's
gonna say what he wants to.
He's gonna tell you what's on his mind. So you had Joker doing it with the media. You had Ben Shelton calling out some media members as well, and then yesterday you had Zverev because the crowd booed when Djokovic retired for medical reasons.
Yep.
And he's like, guys, listen, this is Novak Djokovic. He's arguably the greatest of all time. I'm a Federer guy, but most majors of all time. And then he brought up, he's like, this dude has won this tournament with a torn abdominal muscle and a torn hamstring. Yep. If that guy retires, he's hurt.
They're still mad at him over getting sent home for the COVID thing.
Yeah, probably. And Zverev kind of acknowledged, he's like, hey, I know you paid a ticket for it. I'm sorry. Like, but if this dude who has won this tournament with those injuries says he can't continue, then he cannot continue. We saw it against his previous match when he beat who was he?
Who are we talking about?
Djokovic in his previous match got hurt.
Yeah.
He hurt the hammy.
Same thing that happened
and he continued
with his knee. Like,
he's 37.
The dude plays.
He's been doing this for 20 years.
He lays it on the line.
There's absolutely no reason for that. But I do want to get to some NFL picks. It is Conference Championship Sunday. I don't know if we forgot. But
God,
we've got the Commanders and Eagles at -6.
Yeah, I like the Eagles.
I do too. We mentioned this earlier in the week. I think the Commanders have kind of had their fun and we're done now. That's where I'm at with the Commanders. That, hey, you had your fun. You made a nice run. I cannot imagine a world in which the Commanders are in the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. I just can't do it. And so that's an Eagles pick to me, easy. And as I mentioned earlier in the week, there is kind of it's not a super long history, but enough of a history of just randos making conference championship games.
Randos.
You've got like a random Phillip Rivers in there. You have a bunch of you have like a smattering of Falcons ones in there. You've got of course the Mark Sanchez, appearances back to back. Like there's just randos that show up in the conference championship games because things broke their way for a couple weeks. That's how I feel about Washington. I don't know if it continues or not next year, but this year I think this is the end of the road.
Yeah, I'm all in on, unfortunately, Philadelphia.
Which is weird because we've both this whole time been like, they feel gettable, right? They feel gettable. Washington doesn't feel like they can get them.
I know, and Washington hasn't done anything to me to make me like get off the Daniels hype train. I seriously I just don't think
the roster's good enough overall.
I don't think the Commanders can get stops defensively.
I don't think the roster's good enough overall. I just don't. Oh. And I don't think anybody on that team is stopping Saquon Barkley.
And maybe Hurts won't be healthy
but I honestly think you don't even have to get that much out of Hurts. I think you can literally just run it down their throat and you can beat them with Saquon.
Wow. Yeah.
I really do. I think that's the kind of groove Saquon's in right now. Like he's killing people.
Yeah, Jalen's got to take care of the ball, and you have to have some pocket presence this week.
Yeah.
What's the weather like? Did we get a?
I didn't get a weather report on Lincoln Financial Field for Sunday afternoon. I do know. I'll be honest. I did think about the weather yesterday, and I go, oh, we've got 4 northern teams. I'm not super worried about it.
Yeah.
I mean, Washington's borderline, but it gets cold in Washington.
And Philly on Sunday, it looks
38?
like 38, 39, and relatively dry.
Yeah. And honestly, Kansas City's about the same, 33, relatively normal and dry, so that's not bad either. The Chiefs are a 1.5-point favorite over the Bills. Who do you like?
I have completely flip-flopped.
You going Bills now?
No, I was Bills all week.
Oh, were you? I thought we just kept telling everybody how good they were, good the Chiefs were.
I was Bills all week. I think I'm going to take the Chiefs.
I have to.
I don't love it. I don't.
So I'm kind of at the same spot we were when we were talking to Arif Hassan earlier in the week, right? Where we go, they got the best quarterback, they got the best coach, they got the best defense. I think they've got the best pass catcher left.
It'll mess around and actually be a 1-point game. And
it'll be close.
1.5.
It'll be close.
The Chiefs will win. So I would probably play like the Chiefs on the money line.
Yeah, that's fair. At 1.5, a money line makes more sense anyway for me.
I would take the money line.
Because you're not going to have to pay a lot to get the money line.
You gave me 5 days to think about it. I went from, I think the Bills will win to, you know what? I'll take the Chiefs.
I think it's going to be the Chiefs as well.
I think 80% of the public's on the Bills too.
That's crazy.
Partly driving me.
It's a Chiefs-Eagles Super Bowl. That's Bet on It, brought to you by Warhorse Sportsbook.